Two more standalone concepts are there. 5.3 is one of the most easiest topics. Remember the other day I told you one example of two employees who are working on doing something on the first day. You remember that example or not? This fellow took 1 hour and he made only 20 units, while the other fellow in the same 1 hour made about 300 units. Do you remember that example? Yeah. Why was the other fellow able to do 300? Simple. That is the next topic. You can actually wrap up that in one line. Very simple. Actually, the theme of that entire concept is only one line. When you repeatedly do the same exercise again and again, when you repeatedly do the same exercise again and again, experience will accrue. And when experience accrues, you will be able to produce more. Now tell me something, if I spend 1 hour, will that fellow be paid an hourly wage rate? So I paid him 500. He made only 20 units. Now I paid 500, but I was able to get only 20 units. Tomorrow also I will pay 500, but he made 30 units. Now comparatively, per unit cost, yesterday versus per unit cost today. Obviously today, the per unit cost will be low. Now when this fellow reaches the optimum levels, because now is a new fellow who joined the organization, but with time and experience, when he gains experience, will the cumulative output grow or not? Logic is very simple. When you divide the same fixed cost by higher cumulative output, will the per unit cost decline or not? That's all. This is called experience effect or learning effect. What is it called? Experience effect or learning effect. Either ways, or it is also depicted by an experience curve or a learning curve. I want all of you to get to topic 5.3. Small simple topic. The word akin means similar. Experience curve, which is similar to what is called a learning curve, explains what is gained by workers when you do repeated productive work. Daily you go and do the same thing again and again. But it is not like, you can produce anything more than 300 in that 1 hour, because 300 is the peak. But does it take a minimum amount of time to produce 1 unit or not? So like that, whatever the minimum amount of time it takes to produce 1 unit, you came to that level. Is it called optimum level of efficiency or not? That won't come on day 1, day 2, day 3. Takes time. Okay, because you got to get into the process, understand the process, and do it repeatedly again and again. Experience curve is akin, which means similar to a learning curve, which explains the efficiency increase. What is the concept? That efficiency increases, which is gained by workers through what? Repetitive productive work. Simple logic, guys. When you repeatedly do the same thing, what will happen? Experience will increase. That is the action of that story. What is the effect of that story? That per unit cost also will decline. Hello, we are not reading the topic only to understand that experience or efficiency will increase. Because of that, what will happen? When your efficiency grows, cumulatively output grows or not? When the same numerator is divided by a higher denominator, you know mathematics, no? When the same numerator, I will tell in 0.75x, please understand. When the same numerator is divided by a bigger denominator or a higher denominator, how did the denominator increase? Because of your experience. Why was that fellow able to produce only 20 units yesterday? Because he's new. 1 week later also he'll be producing 20 units. If he's continuing to do that, he'll actually answer will be no. For what? Do you have employment? No. Because they'll throw you out. 1 week later also if you do that. So they're giving you time. That is what is called learning. Learning is what? The last line you see. We learn as we grow. That is what the theory is. So you have to learn and cumulatively increase the output. Even the entity is not expecting you to produce 300 on day 1. Now listen carefully. If entity needs somebody who can produce on day 1 300 units, whom should they bring? Experienced individual who is already working in some other factory doing the same thing. They'll hire that guy. Obviously you will have to pay them higher or not. So anyway, it goes like that. So in the initial phase or a training phase, it is important for you to understand the principle. We learn as we grow. Okay. Experience curve is based on a commonly observed phenomena that underline per unit cost will decline. When will per unit cost decline, ma? Per unit cost will decline as a firm accumulates output. Per unit cost will decline as the firm accumulates experience in terms of a cumulative volume of production. It is based on a concept that, underline, what is the concept? We learn as we grow. And this is exactly worked with all those people who tried economies of scale. When will you get economies of scale? Hello, when will you get economies of scale? 4-5 times it is large scale production. When will your scale of production go large? Obviously when you produce more. When you produce more means what? Using the same facility, should you produce more? If you increase your facility and produce more, cost also will go up. That's not what we want. With the same cost, when your output grows, that's when you will have a per unit cost advantage or not. That's what exactly they're talking about. And that is something intangible. What is intangible? Experience is intangible. You can't show. Where is experience? You can't show. You can only show it in the output. That fellow was doing 20, now he's doing 40. That means he gathered a little bit of experience. 40 became 80. It came slowly like that in the next 1.5 months to 300. Now this fellow is optimum. Nobody needs to train him anymore. Go. Full-fledged. He can start working in the production environment. The implication is that larger firms in an industry would tend to have, underline, lower per unit cost as compared to smaller companies. Thereby, these larger companies have what is called cost advantage. What is the benefit of having cost advantage? Can we play with margins? When you play with margins, does it also mean you are paying with selling price or not? And you already know what? That price sensitivity is there in market. Now if your cost is low, that is you have a cost advantage. Everybody's cost is 8, your cost is 6. All of them in the market are right now selling at 10. Because 8 plus 2. That's what everybody is looking at. 8 rupees of cost and 2 rupees of margin for everybody. Now you tell me what you can do. If you really want to disrupt the market, you have 6. Can we add a margin of 2 and sell it at 8? Which others can, in fact you can add a margin of 3 and sell it at 9 also. Because 9 is still way cheaper than what everybody is selling at 10. So tell me, all those people who are price sensitive in the market, I can show what I am telling in terms of numbers also. But I will not do that now. There is a separate topic called cost leadership. That day I will put on screen what is this 8 to 10. Now only oral. But you can, I think you can understand there. Where everybody in the market is selling at 10, you are able to sell at 9. Which means, do you have a pricing advantage because of your cost advantage also or not? You can draw everybody in the market who is relatively price sensitive. Because remember who are price sensitive people? Who are price sensitive people? Price sensitive are those people who look at the price tag and not anything else. Because obvious need. Right? You can't expect everybody to look for quality and then buy the product. Major cross section of a society in India, they buy only because of price. Because that's how the income characteristics are. So you can't always tell that fellow, why is he seeing price tag and buying? Because that's his level of affordability. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I will see 3 times the same price tag. What is your problem? My price tag, my eyes, my wish, no? I will see 3 times. Price will not change still. And then I will determine 100 other things to see whether I can buy that or not, which is also my wish. So you cannot comment on price sensitivity. You can take an advantage of that. Where everybody else is selling at 10, if you sell at 9, can you attract more customers who are price sensitive or not? Of course. Experience curve results from a variety of factors. Tell me, what are the factors that will help you gain experience? Point number 1, learning. 2, economies of scale. Third one, product redesign. If you are producing a product in a particular way, it used to take 3 minutes to produce 1 unit. Now you redesign. Maybe you imported a machine from somewhere, or you started using a new technique, or maybe you changed your supplier and got a new raw material. Whatever be that. There is a redesign or a complete change, technological improvement in production. Okay. I'll give you one simple example. I guess all of you can easily understand the technological improvement. Now, they print these invitation cards. You know invitation cards? For one fantastic occasion they will print. No, those only are called invitation cards. Now, invitation cards, visiting cards, letterheads, whatever. If you go into this printing business, about 15 years ago, what they used to do is, they used to have, one pattern. It's called a pattern. It is like a pad which has a transparent, like a material on which they will make an imprint using ink. Then what they do is they take the card and they apply ink on this imprint and they, like drive it once. Then the imprint will fall on the card manually. This is called screen printing. Okay. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that or if you know it. But normally what they do is they take this, then they'll take a big sheet. They'll do this for about 100, 200, 300 cards manually. And then they'll get through to this cutting machine, put it up, cut and then give. Like say if you have to print 500 cards, they have to manually do this exercise 500 times and then do this. It used to take at least 3 days for you to get an order of this size. 500,000 means 3 days, 5 days, because they have to literally take this pattern, put the paper or the card below, rub that imprint, wait for it to dry, then cut, then pack and give you. You can do this today in less than 30 minutes because nothing needs to dry. We have digital printers, right? Put the card, just print it across, over, job done. 30 minutes, 3 days. Is there any comparison? So, sir, what is the logic? Nothing, a machine came, that's all. Earlier, whatever, today also people are there who do this, whatever I told you. Because that is somewhat way cheaper. Those people who can't invest lakhs of rupees on that machine, no, they're still doing printing. Only experts can figure out which is a digital printing and which is a screen printing. By seeing a card, if general public like us picks up a card, you will never know whether it was digitally printed or by hand. You don't even get to common public like us who have no idea. But those guys who are experienced in that, no, they pick up a card, they'll tell this is hand printed, this is digital. They know it. Because what comes by? Same way in clothing. Hand stitched and machine cut. Tailor will easily make out. You and I can't really make out. But the moment he sees the stitch, no, he'll be like, okay, this is hand woven. This is machine made. Same thing. Like I told you, in terms of garments, if it was manual, cutting manually, stitching manually, then putting it up, folding, packing, it used to take, let's say 1,000 shirts is the order. It used to take at least 3 days to do that order. Today, I told you, like yesterday, there's a place like Tirupur. If you are given order for 1,000 shirts, by evening they'll give you packed, fully packed and sealed in 1 day. I don't think it will take 1 day also. Because they have huge machines that are driven. Point being, what earlier took a lot of time will not take so much time due to technological improvements. It is not necessary that it is only experience. But there are so many places where manual labor is removed. So obviously, advantage will be there or not. 4 points. Learning effects, economies of scale, redesign in the product making itself, and technological improvements. What are all these? They're all something which will help you get. Now experience increases, per unit cost will decline. Please read the 3 points. It is capital expenditure. No, you only bother about what? Fixed cost and variable cost. In terms of cost of production, you don't consider the cost that you put on the assets. No, asset is asset for the organization. That will not be brought in terms of calculating the per unit cost. Now your investment in business is what you are talking about. What we are talking about here is the cost that is incurred in making a unit. So if I hire this particular place, the rent I pay for this place comes as fixed cost. All the assets that are involved here, assets are used to generate revenue only, no? So that over a period of time is getting attributed as depreciation. So there is no way how you are bringing the cost of asset into the cost of the product. Per unit cost of product is about the variable cost that is incurred in making that product plus the amount of fixed cost that you can attribute per unit. That's all. So the cost that you make as the money that you put in as investment, you look for the ROI on that, no? Return on the investment that you made. That is the overall profit that you can make. Okay? Everybody, read those 3 points. Every experience curve has 3 features. Simple points. Nothing, no rocket science. They're very simple. As every organization grows, when can you grow? You read this sentence? No, we learn as we grow. So as we grow, will learning experience increase or not? Underline. As organization grow, they gain experience. did you discuss yesterday in the 7 barriers to new entrants? One of the barriers is economies of scale. Yes or no? Ray, yesterday we discussed 7 points. In that, the third one we talked about. So, economies of scale. If existing players are already operating at high economies of scale, will it discourage a new entrant or not? Yes. Well, obviously, existing players, if they have high experience, new entrant will be discouraged or not? All new entrant think, "Arey sir, to operate at their level of experience, it takes 5 years for me. Then better don't enter." Experience may provide an added advantage over the competition. In fact, experience underlined is a key barrier to new entrants. Now, in the previous point, you read experience leads to economies of scale. Hello, yesterday when we read 7 points, we didn't read experience in those 7 points. We read economies of scale. But economies of scale is a result of, understood or not? Experience leads to economies of scale. And that economies of scale is a barrier to the new entry. What is the key barrier? Economies of scale only. Guys, understood or not? So that is exactly why this concept is called experience effect. Large and successful organizations. What happened to large and successful organizations? They possess stronger experience effect. Large and successful organizations do what? They possess stronger experience effect. A typical experience curve is depicted as follows. You can see the picture is already given up. Starts low, goes up the peak point. Cost per unit says, see this one, cumulative production. As the production grows in terms of going further, cost per unit declines. Initially your cost was here, right? As the cumulative production grows, it came down. What came down? Yes, the cost per unit has come down because at this point your experience is pretty high. Yes or no? So when experience increases, per unit cost will decline. As business grows, it understands the complexities and the benefits both from their experiences. The concept of experience curve is relevant in number of areas in strategic management. Sir, where will you use these concepts? I told you, right? We will learn only these 4 concepts now, the use of which are there in the later parts. Are we doing analysis or are we making strategies? After finishing analysis, we will make strategies. Chapter 4, strategic choices. When we make choices, we will use all these concepts to determine which one is a good choice, which one is a bad choice. For instance, experience curve is considered as a barrier for new firms. Yes or no? Contemplating entry into contemplating means you are deciding whether to enter an industry or not. Guys, tell me, whether to enter an industry or not, can we decide based on experience? If you believe it is not the right time to enter, what should you do? Better stay away from it or look for opportunities in other industries. See there, for instance, experience curve is considered to be a barrier for those new firms which are contemplating an entry into the industry. It is also used to do what? Build market share. What is it used to do? Build market share and discourage competition. For example, in the contemporary Indian automobile industry, experience curve phenomena seems to be working for Maruti. I think all of us know that, they are one of the earlier players in the automobile industry. No matter how many people came after them, Maruti still has their share of sales. Yes or no? Okay, they do have so many new strategies. They partnered up with Suzuki. Now they have partnered up with Nexa, which is their venture in the sense now they have a new brand name. So they do all that. See, that any company does. But do they understand the pulse of the economy as such or not? Right? When Maruti 800 was done or done away with, they're like, okay, now this is not the time anymore. Remember that day we discussed what is called product life cycle. Hello, that was only the example. Then they adopted to a new thing. Then they brought in Alto. Then they brought in Swift Desire. Depending on time, now they have so many variants between the 5 to 10 lakh range, 10 to 20 lakh range, about 20 lakhs. But they know that, their market is not anything more than that. So in the about 20 lakh range also, you will find only 1 or 2 variants which go that much. Because people know that, Maruti is not selling something in competition with Merc or BMW. So they don't go there. But there are certain entities like, for example, if you pick up entities like Hyundai or Kia Motors, their product range is wide. That means they have a car in the segment of 10 to 15 lakhs also. They have a car in the segment of 40 lakhs also. Now, it is up to them for them to compete. Remember I told you 3 words: market segmentation, market targeting and market positioning. I'll use these examples once again to explain them. How the same company targets different segments. Himalaya, Johnson & Johnson, right? These are again good examples of doing those. ITC, HUL, P&G, almost every household product that we do. Patanjali, as we discussed in the last class. They're all entities that do this. Clear idea of targeting their customers. Company is one, but they target different segments. Amul, right? So like that, different companies are there. One of the examples in the automobile they gave. Okay. The likely strategic choice for competitors can be underlined. That is what I was shouting all this while. A market niche approach. What is market niche, guys? Huh? Hey, what is a market niche? I told you. It is a target. Small group or a target group. It's not necessarily small. That's why I'm not using that. You can still call it a small group, but because compared to the whole industry, it will be a small group only. But still, I want always all of you to remember it as a target group. Don't care whether it is small or big at this point of time. So it's a target group. That's all. Strategic choice for competitors can be a market niche approach. What is a market niche approach? When you can't compete with relatively experienced people. Do one thing. Choose your segment and stick to that. Understood? Otherwise, will you be a victim of entering the wrong market at the wrong time or not? Because already you have players with lot of experience. Or do one thing. Do it only in your city. Can we do that? Only in your city, only in your state, only in your place. Remember I told you about geography? Hey, we discussed demographic. Why did we discuss demography? Simply, just like that, 4 points in population are there. You have to understand, I told you, it is not a very attractive opportunity for you to go and open business entities in Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim. Do you remember I told you why? Not because of any other reason or hatred towards any place. It is because the density is low. Even if you are fully catering to everybody in that, you still have 30 people only in that circle or in that square. Are you understanding what we're talking about? So please understand, when you know that you can't compare or fight with the broader markets, do one thing. Choose a market niche approach. Choose those segments, serve only them. Or based on geography or demography, go for that.